Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good.
Excellent, excellent. We had an epic podcast last week, and so we're probably going to have a short podcast this week.
We ran out of words.
Yeah. The cocktail of the week is the Amaretto Sour. That's a real beginner drink, I think, because it's low alcohol. It's very sweet. It's real tasty. When I may have told this story, but at the risk of sounding like an old person who tells the same stories all the time.
That's my bag.
You know, I was not much of a drinker. I mean, I'm still not like a big drinker, but like I very rarely drank, well into my 30s. But when I was buying my first house, so I was 28 maybe, and I was getting ready to buy my house. And it was like the week before I was closing on the house and moving and everything. And I was so stressed. And so...
How stressed were you?
I was so stressed that every night for like a week, I was making myself an Amaretto Sour. So it's like one shot of Amaretto, which is like half the amount of alcohol that you'd have in like whiskey or vodka, maybe less. And then like I had a bottle of sour mix in my fridge. You can tell how unsophisticated.
It's like from the Giant or something,
yeah,
from the grocery.
It was from the grocery store. Drink whatever makes you happy, right? But like I would not be caught dead with grocery store sour mix anymore.
It might give you headaches.
Oh my God. So like whatever, a shot of Amaretto and sour mix, just because I was so stressed and it like made me a little more relaxed. And I would have one. And then I was very worried that I was going to become an alcoholic because I was having one Amaretto Sour in the evening before the stressful time.
So that's a bad memory. This is not a good cocktail of the week.
I mean, it's funny. It's just funny because like I was like barely drinking anything. But I was really worried.
Something about Amaretto evokes high school drinking. I don't know exactly why.
It's really sweet, but it's...
Someone might have been drinking it in high school. Who knows?
Maybe.
Amaretto.
Amaretto. So Di Serono is like the brand you should get. It's very good. And then an Amaretto Sour is just like an ounce and a half of that, an ounce of simple syrup, and 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. Or you can get the bottle of sour mix at the grocery store if you want. Put a cherry in there. It's very tasty. We are not drinking it right now because I'm going on MSNBC in an hour, and I do not drink before I go on TV.
We don't have to give away the secrets. As far as anyone's concerned, I'm drinking it with 3 straws right now.
Well, I'm going to have one when I'm done with Brian.
3
Williams.
straws.
So let's see. Dog updates. Tomorrow, Hop and Vink are going finally to get all their blood drawn and everything for the Moores Animal Foundation.
They each have a box of vials to fill.
Yep, mostly with blood, but some with nail clippings and some with hair.
4 shoe boxes size is the box of vials for each of them.
Yeah,
it's
not quite that bad, but there's like a dozen vials for each one.
Oh my goodness. Poor Vank's gonna have no blood left.
Yep.
Little dried out.
Brody is back down to 91 pounds, so that's the Brody and Lodi. He was at 89 for a while, and then when we were trying to soothe his anxiety, he was up to 93.
He morphed his way into 3 more pounds.
He stayed at 93 for a while, but he was back down to 91 when we weighed him, I think, on Monday.
He complained himself into 4 more pounds of food to shut him up.
Yep.
Silence him.
I've started taking him for walks more often. It's hard because he doesn't get excited to go for a walk, but sometimes he starts getting anxious around 4 o'clock, and so if I'll let him out and then leash him up, he actually has a great time when we go walk. He walks farther than like pretty much all the other dogs.
Yeah.
So we have a good, we walk maybe 3/4 of a mile.
His problem is mental, not physical.
Yep. So that's helping him. So he's down to 91. Voods was down to 97. He had plateaued at 98 for a while, but it was down to 97. We think his tail may have been touching the floor.
It does that. He's got low muscle strength in his tail. It drags on the ground.
One cannot keep Vood standing for a weigh-in.
He's got too many things touching the ground.
So anyway, that's all going well. Walk is doing fine. So we don't have a lot of dog updates, which is good.
Yeah.
Though I did write down topics. So we have the crazy lady who lives across the street.
Mm-hmm.
We do our very best to not interact with her. She has been pretty, with a few kind of weird boundary crossing exceptions, generally been quite pleasant to us. She's one of those people who'll just ramble on about all kinds of weird conspiracy stuff. And our neighbors have universally, the neighbors on the block have had bad interactions with her. We have not, and would like to keep it that way. So we do our very best not to talk to her, as evidenced by 5 podcasts ago when I talked about hiding in my car and not to talk to her. But she's always been perfectly nice. So she caught me this week. I was outside and she came up to the fence and was
so unfortunate. I peek out the window and I see her talking to you, and I duck back down. So then I think, should I call Jen on the phone?
Okay, hopefully this isn't going to be anything crazy. And so she was like somewhere, and she bought us a dog wall calendar. It's got like pictures of puppies on it. She's like, it's got golden retrievers on the cover. And she's like, I just saw this and it was so cute. So I bought one for you and one for me, which Jared's making a face. And it's like, we just kind of want her to stay out of our business. At the same time, like, it's a very nice thing that she did.
Let me see if I can vocalize my facial expression. It's very thin ice. Like, just humor her. And you're just worried that at some point in her rambling discourse, she'll decide that you might be a cause of the problems too, and then it might be
which
bad.
She has done with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
But so one thing that she does that came up in this conversation, so at some point a month or two ago when she had caught me, she was like, blah, 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 like this dog did this thing, and like I had a dog, it did this thing, and when I look over at your house and like Red Barron is just doing whatever, and I'm like, I have no idea what this lady's talking about. And she's going on and on about Red Barron, and I have no idea what she's talking about. And then, but I'm just like, oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And then she's like, well, Red Barron's what I call that dog. She named Guac Red Barron. I've told her his name.
Uh-huh.
She calls him Red Barron. That's his name for her. So when she gave me the calendar, she's like, your dog's, like I watched your husband. This is part of the problem. I watched your husband, and he came, or you came home. Who knows what scenario she had. I came home and they were looking for you, but they all were really just waiting for Red Barron to get out of the car. Like, what the fuck, lady? Like, how are you observing our...
we bought a hedge just for this, and it's too porous apparently.
I was talking to another one of our neighbors. He lives next door to her, right on her side of the street, and one of his packages has come to our house. So I was out in the street giving him his package, and we were
He's
talking.
Normal.
He's wonderful. I really like him. Him and his wife are both super nice and smart, easy to talk to, very friendly. She wasn't home, and so we were talking about other stuff, and then he was saying my wife and I, like, we really love everybody that we like in the neighborhood is like this, like we love everything you've done with the house, because it was kind of barren when we moved in, and we've done a lot of landscaping.
It had no fence and no landscaping, really.
No landscaping. So we've put in a ton of trees, and then obviously it just got painted, and he's like, my wife and I, like, we just love the paint, like we love what you did, but also like all these plants, it looks really good, and everything is very bright now. And he's like, these areca palms that you put in the front, the wall of palms, these are areca palms. He's like, those are going to be, 3 or 4 years, they're going to be as tall as ours. He's got a row of them on the property line between him and the crazy lady. And I was like, yes, I'm very envious of your tall ones. And he's like, yeah, well, we put those in for a reason. And I said, so did we. And he's like, she's not here now. And so, he was like, talking. He's like, we don't even want to look at it. Like, they put them in for exactly the same reason we did.
They just have had 10 years to grow them, I think. They've been there a while. A thicket.
And so she came down the street in her car as we were doing that. And he's like, oh, the crazy lady's back. And I was like, that's what we call her too. And I feel bad because she's been nice to us. At the same time, like I said, all we need to do is go to the fact that she called ICE on one of the neighbors who's Hispanic, and
I think she's mad at one of the other neighbors because she didn't keep the housing inspector away, or the zoning enforcement guy away.
Yeah, her house is condemned, and I mean, this is like maybe before we moved in, even a few years ago. she was not in the house. She didn't live in the house. She's only been here for the last year, and there's a whole complicated story. But she had been gone for a long time, and one of the inspectors had come and looked at her house, and she threw a fit at some other neighbor because the other neighbor hadn't called her to tell her the inspector's there. And the other neighbor's like, I don't sit and watch your house all the time, but that's the kind of thing she is. And she said to us, like, you got to tell me if anybody comes by. And I was like, we don't really watch outside at all, so I will not know. As opposed to her, who like literally knows what's going on in our backyard.
She has a moldy, condemned house. She's spending a lot of time outside.
Anyway,
that's the problem.
All right, we got to stop ranting about her. But I did want to note that she has named our dogs her own names, which would be one thing if she's like, I don't know what that one's called. I just call him this.
Right.
Like that'd be kind of endearing.
But she kind of assumed you knew that was Red Baron.
It's weird that she just calls him that without telling me. And I have also told her their names. Not that she has to remember, but then to just pretend that their names are something that she's decided. I think it's weird. Don't do that to people. Everybody.
Also that she's, making little notes about how I'm walking around with the dogs out there. That makes me... I wear boxers a lot. I mean,
grow,
I'm
trees grow.
I'm not always well-dressed.
But otherwise, that's fine. There's no problems. Dogs are doing great.
I think Voodoo's running more. It's cute.
He does. He gets the gallop sometimes.
He gambles, yeah.
Yeah. He's doing good.
Mm-hmm.
No seizures. Everything's fine.
Yeah, nothing terrible being eaten as far as we know.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to do German word of the week?
Sure.
Okay. Hit me.
Rohrkrepierer.
Spell it.
R-O-H-R, Rohr.
Yeah.
And Krepierer, K-R-E-P-I-E-R-E-R.
Oh, Jesus. There's too many R's in that.
It's a bit of a...
Rohrkrepierer.
It's not like a super polite word. Krepieren is a little bit of a rough word for dying. Like
kicking the bucket.
Yeah, it's a little bit more just like, it's a crass way. I mean, you wouldn't be very sensitive to say, your grandfather is krepiert. You'd use it for animals or something like that. Die in the desert of thirst, it's like it's sort of an agonizing death and krepiert. But you also use it, literally it means, it refers to a shell in a artillery piece that explodes within the barrel.
Oh.
So it's the Rohr, the barrel,
yeah.
and it dies in the barrel. It explodes in the barrel.
Oh, jeez.
But it's used metaphorically as an idea that it's like dead on arrival. Like that was a really Rohrkrepierer of an idea. Like it just was
interesting,
terrible throughout. That was a real dud. Dud of an idea.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Dud. Yeah, artillery dud. There you go.
Say it one more time.
Rohrkrepierer.
Man, that's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good job, dude. All right, our taste of the keys this week. We're getting away from the violent crime and we're getting back to the fish violations.
Yes.
Because there were many.
Yes.
There's an article in Conclave about many citations issued over the weekend. Okay. Middle Keys Deputy Guerra, which, could have been Deputy Radecki. We haven't had him so often that his name no longer rolls up.
Quietly busy.
Radecki. No, this is not him. Guerra was on patrol Saturday near mile marker 61 on the ocean side near Duck Key when he observed a man, we're not going to read names, place a lobster in his wetsuit. The deputy approached and asked to inspect his catch. The inspection yielded 3 undersized wrung lobster tails and 4 whole lobsters in his wetsuit. Just stuffing them in there. Like the shady guy who opens the trench coat and he's got all the watches, except it's this guy who opens the wetsuit.
Want to buy a lobster or a lobster tail? You can only do that because they don't pinch here. If they were Maine lobsters, that guy would have real problems.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
No, ours don't have any claws. He got a mandatory citation to appear in court for lobster violations. Then the same deputy made contact with Deputy Ian Dothert, who was at Conch Key Village, mile marker 62, just a mile up the road. He observed a man walking from the beach with 2 queen conchs. So these are the big conch shells. You can't harvest conchs in the Keys.
Well, usually the shell has an animal in there, right? The conch animal. It
does.
Conky.
Yeah, we know a beach you can go to that's got very old conch shells that watch up, like they're bleached white.
Mm-hmm.
wanted a conch shell so bad. But like I'm a vegetarian, so I'm certainly not going to kill aside from the fact that it's illegal, I'm not going to kill a conch. And also, you can buy them, but they're harvested and they kill the conchs and get them. And I was like, I really want one that just like has been abandoned by its conch. And friggin' GR Dad, we were on our like mini staycation in July, out kayaking, and he's like, there's a queen conch shell down there, but it's upside down, right? Normally it's got the kind of open part facing down because that's where the conch foot comes out. And it was upside down. And so I like jumped into like shoulder deep water and picked it up. And there was a rotted, dead residue of conch in there. Like it was bad. It was foul black water coming out of the thing, but it was exactly what I wanted. The queen conch in there was dead and gone and long decomposed, but the shell was beautiful. So I did a very extensive cleaning, first smuggling it home from the resort with nobody smelling it.
Just in case there was any dispute. We don't think it's illegal, but
no,
we don't want to have an
anything.
argument.
So now it's on display in our house. It's clean and it does not smell like death, which it did for quite a while. It was a process to get that thing clean.
Anyway, this guy had live conchs.
This guy just took them. Just took the live ones. He had 5 total queen conchs. He also got a mandatory citation to appear in court. They have a picture in here of the queen conchs that he has. Dude, you can't do that. I hope he didn't kill him, but I think he maybe did. Upper Keys Sergeant Dosh inspected the catch belonging to a 31-year-old guy from Miami who was fishing near Whale Harbor. He was found to be in possession of 3 undersized mangrove snappers.
Tisk.
He also has to appear in court. Look at all these people catching the too small illegal fish.
Yeah,
Stop it.
A couple weeks ago, stop it. A couple weeks ago, someone was arrested with and they found 100 lobster tails or something in their coolers.
Those are people who come down and they'll catch them for like restaurants.
Yeah.
And then they bring them back and sell them there.
In my backyard, probably.
If they catch you, they throw them all back. They can't be like, all right, man, you got 100. We're gonna fine you for it, whatever. But like, at least put them to use. Oh no, they are thrown back into the water.
I think those guys might have been taken to jail.
They might. I think they were taken to jail.
At some point, it gets real bad.
Yeah, you can't kill all our lobsters, man.
No, there are rules, man.
There's rules for a reason, so we don't run out.
Ridiculous.
Poor guys.
Maybe my life's work is gonna be importing Maine lobsters to down here. 'Cause won't those people be surprised when they just like reach down to grab a lobster and then jump your little fingers off?
I mean, look, we've got stone crab claw season, and those crabs have big claws, but people just rip them off and eat them.
That's because they're not. That's because they're prepared. The lobster would be a surprise.
I mean, it would be a surprise for a little while, and then I think people would be prepared for them too.
You see a lot of the people who were surprised with fingers missing. You could tell exactly who was sloppy.
A lot of schadenfreude from GR Dad here.
They should have a chance to defend themselves, is all I'm saying.
All right, well, that's a short podcast for this week. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is that everything's fine.
Yep.
That's actually, there's no bad news. That's just the good news.
That's great. All right, well, if you're disappointed in the short length of this podcast, go back and listen to hour 2 of last week.
Yeah.
We got shit to do, everybody.
Or just start at podcast number 1 and catch up.
Yeah, I don't remember what those things said.
Plenty of content out there.
Or go watch my TikToks.
Yes.
There's plenty.
They're really good.
The Golden Ratio TikTok has now been approved for the Creator Fund. I had to wait 30 days to reapply. So now we get paid every time you view our videos, so go watch them.
There's good stuff in there. It's
high quality content.
Money aside, you can't pay for this kind of content, actually.
TikTok can.
That's fine.
They are.
That's fine. This mysterious entity named TikTok is somehow funneling money to people.
I have had a bunch of like good ideas for what I think would be like really great videos that I was waiting to get into the Creator Fund for so I can get paid for them. And now I'm in it, so they're going up.
That's just smart, which means it's good, but it'll get even better.
Yeah, there's a queso, like when she came, and queso glow up video today, which is doing great. So again, you don't have to sign up for an account. You don't need the app. You can just go to tiktok.com/@the Golden Ratio 4 and find us there.
Yep.
All right, well, until next week, wear a mask and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Yeah, don't bite anyone.
Bye.
Bye.